All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is the working title experience. This is episode number 28. And for this evening show or morning or afternoon, wherever you may be watching this, I have Rachel. Rachel, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. And by the way, for those who are watching this, I will have to make a quick edit here. I said episode 28. I forgot to, I copy and pasted the last title show. So it now says episode 27. I'll correct that. If you're watching this later on, it'll probably be corrected by then. So minor mistake on my end. I just get a little lazy there when I'm doing my titles there. So Rachel is a script supervisor. Is that right? What,
Yes, that's correct.
so
I'm mhm.
tell us about yourself. What do you do exactly?
Well, I actually do kind of a lot of things. Script supervisor is the main title I like to give myself, which means I work on films, mostly short films. Short films are my favorite. I've done a feature before, but like I said, short films are my favorite. I also work at a nonprofit organization called Literacy Connections. We we're based in the Hudson Valley area of New York. We recruit and volunteers to help teach people how to read and write in English. I also do podcasts. This is the first speaking role I have, but I edit podcasts as well.
Oh,
I feel like I do something else too, but I can't think of that right now. No, I
well,
think
I think I
podcasts. I think I got my main three there.
I can think of one more thing. You have a cat.
I do have a cat. My cat's name is Codex. If anybody is a nerd here that loves Felicia Day, it is a nod to Felicia Day because she had that series, the web series that she did, and now I'm totally blanking on it. The Guild, there it is, The Guild, and her character's name was Codex, and it was in the middle of airing. Well, I guess I don't know. You call it airing if it's a web series, technically. And when I got my cat, so I named her Codex.
Oh.
And I still love Felicia Day because she's amazing. But yeah.
I got a question about your cat there.
Sure.
The cat's eyes, they look like they're yellow. Is she just sleepy or what
Oh,
is
yeah, she's just sleepy. She likes to sleep a lot. This isn't her best picture, but it was pretty cute. And I didn't realize how much it would crop out when I put it up here. So you can see her whole big fluffy body. She likes to lay on her back and show off her fluffy belly and stuff. But she does she's some yellowish. They're like I don't know. It's a weird mix of like yellow and gray, but she is just sleepy here in this picture.
well, I guess we have that in common there. We're
Yes,
both
with our cats.
yes, we're both hiding behind an image of our cat there. So, oh,
Mhm.
and by the way, here's my I have switch mine real quick just to show you. That's my long hair kitty, and this is his brother, the short hair kitty. So,
Okay.
and in case you're wondering, I'm very lazy at giving my pets names at all. So,
Oh,
um,
really?
yeah, so that's basically what I call them: long hair kitty and short hair kitty.
Wow, those are really clever. Our cats get longer, the names get longer and longer and longer. We have Petey, but we usually call him Petimus Maximus. And then we had another cat, her name was Lily, but we always called her Princess Tiger Lily. It's just they get more names as it goes on. I always call her Cody Baby Kitty Codes, which doesn't really make sense, but I call her that all the time.
I It sounds better than what I do. I mean, I the last 2 cats I had, they both died in 2019.
Okay.
They were one was female, one was female, so I just called them one the boy, the other the girl.
Your poor cats, they need names.
So,
I
but
guess they don't really know the difference, but
no, not really. I do know when I took them to the vet one time or took the boy to the vet one time, the woman at the counter said, "Do you have a cat named the girl as well?" And she had no idea. She's just kinda guessed. I said, "Yeah, I do." And she just started laughing, so
Oh, wow.
So anyway, before we went
Yes.
live, I was telling you about the our how I'd like to engage the audience, and
Mhm.
I asked if you'd like to ask the audience a question. So what I'll do is I'm going to bring this up, and you
Alright.
had discussed how did you phrase that? Something about
Oh, what type of traveler you would be? Because I know you can talk about travel destinations, but what kind of traveler are you? Are you a luxury traveler, always staying in high-end hotels? Are you a budget traveler, staying in the cheapest, hostels you can find? A backpacker? Can you make it through a flight with just your backpack, or a whole trip with a backpack? I think the farthest I've gone personally is a backpack for a month in Europe so that
Hmm.
I wouldn't have to pay for check bags.
The as no as the no, you're going to have to go through those again. As far as the
Mm,
question goes, what kind of traveler are you?
yeah,
Are you yeah, good? Okay.
I think
And
that's good.
what I would suggest we should do is below that is say,
Mhm.
um, leave a description maybe. How does that
Yeah,
sound?
sure.
Okay. And and then what we'll do is we'll go below and then we'll actually give the
Add a
responses
few
that you
poll
say.
spot responses, yeah.
And give me a second here. Okay. Oh, geez. My horrible spelling is coming back into play there. Sorry about that. There we go.
That's all right.
Leave a note and it did not leave
A
a discretion.
discretion. Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what that is. Hold on a second. This D-E dis
ESC.
yes. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, there we go. I was getting the I and my E mixed up there. Okay.
Mm.
So what was the
Let's
first
go
one you
with
gave?
luxury traveler.
Luxury traveler.
Mm. I've only done that once or twice. It's very expensive.
Luxury traveler. So
Mm.
describe that again.
Like
I know you're
staying
saying
like high-end hotels and eating at high-end restaurants, things like that. I know
okay.
some people that would refuse to stay in anything resembling a hostel,
And
but
hotels.
high-end hotels and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Luxury accommodation is kind of a deal. Yeah,
There we go.
there you
Okay.
go. Uh,
At home staying at. And if you see me move
yeah,
words
yeah.
around, spell them, just point it out. What happens is my brain, just to let you know, my brain is oftentimes ahead of what I'm seeing. So
Mm.
I that's why I'll leave words out, and I was like, and it happens so every so often, just like just then. And when
Mhm.
I used to teach several years ago, and my students would do the same thing whenever I do a test. Every once in a while I get a question to come up, and they say, there seems to be a word missing here," and I'd look at it and I go, "No, there's nothing missing here." And one of the students actually said to me one time, "No, you know what it is. You just forgot to put that extra word in there." So he wasn't
Um,
being rude. He was just being kind of
yeah,
blunt.
yeah,
But
yeah.
okay, what would
Let's
be the
go with
next one?
budget travelers staying
Budget.
in hostels and packing lightly, and let's go yeah, budget traveler.
Hold on a second. Whoops. Where's my back? There it is. Traveler.
It's also a little
Budget.
hard for me to see because it's very small on my screen.
Yeah, yeah. So I wasn't sure if you're able to see that
Let's
full
see.
thing. So
If I
how do you
make
spell
my
hostile?
whole screen cover it, budget traveler. Hostel, HOSTLE, I'm pretty sure.
Hostile? Is
Yeah, there
that
you
it?
go. Yep.
What is that? I'm not even sure. You pardon my ignorance
A
on that. What is
hostel. So basically a hostel is kind of like a dorm room. You you can go for there are more expensive hostels and cheaper hostels. The cheapest hostel I ever stayed in was in Milan, and there had to be 40 other people in there in that room at
hmm,
least. Yeah, so it's basically just a whole bunch of bunk beds, then as many as will fit in a space, and it packs as many people in as possible, and it's usually $10 to $20 a night.
okay. Okay. I actually there's a young woman, very smart young woman, because she did something similar in California. I don't remember
Mhm,
where it was exactly, but she started a business, and it's that I didn't know what it was called at the time. Now I know. But
mhm,
she did exactly what you said. She took these old abandoned buildings, and she got people to come in and build bunk beds, and the people pay if they want to stay there a night, they want to stay there a month, they want to stay there a couple of
mhm.
months, or whatever. And yeah, it was all like a community kind of a thing. So
Okay.
um
Yeah, yeah.
the how does that work exactly? I mean, for me, I would want my privacy. I don't, unless it seems like you wouldn't have much privacy, obviously.
Yeah, so privacy is a little short in places like that, but, what I usually do for myself, they usually have all female dorms, all male dorms, and co-ed dorms. I always feel a little bit safer, obviously, in an all-female dorm. And really you just kind of get your bed to yourself. There are normal bathrooms, kind of like just anywhere there's stalls, and then there's stall showers as well. Yeah, privacy is not really something you get, but you get to meet a lot of interesting people, and it's super cheap. I believe I stayed in Paris for a week for $60,
Oh, week
which,
6. That's pretty good.
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
it is it
It's hard to do, but you can if you can find it.
Oh, okay. Now, what was the other one? Hostel. What was the other ones you had in there as
Um,
for
Staying at
examples?
hostels, not checking bags, like traveling light.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Staying at hostels.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually had when I was younger. I lived in a house that was sectioned off, uh, kind of similar, but we weren't that much into. We weren't sharing each other. We weren't like in each other's privacy
Hmm.
or anything like that. But I do know that once in a while, there's a much older guy that lives on the upper level. I lived on the bottom level, and he would come down drunk sometimes and just chew my ear off. It's like couldn't stop talking, and it was it got to be annoying. So, and I just talk. I would be talking very normally, like I am to you
Hmm.
right now, and all of a sudden he would just start yelling at me, "Stop shouting!" He was just so plastered. He was just so he was so inebriated. He was just so full of whatever he
Oh,
had just
wow.
drank. He just everything was loud to him.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I'm sure.
and
Wow, yeah.
he was a piece of work too. So all right. All right.
I think,
Let's see.
my favorite hostels were the ones in Japan. We did capsule hostels. So it's technically bunk beds, but they're all completely, like, quartered off, so you're in your own little capsule. That was pretty awesome. I liked those.
Uh,
That gives
yes,
you
I've
privacy, but it's still a small space that's quite cheap compared to a regular hotel.
I've seen those, and you can't be claustrophobic, I assume, right? Those are
Yeah,
good for
I am a little bit, so I was a little bit nervous about it, but it turned out to be fine. Usually for me, I have to not be able to move my arms. If I can move my arms in a space, I'm usually okay. So, but once it gets too small where I can't quite move my arms, that's when I start to panic. So I was all right. And I'm
what would
not
be
short or anything. I'm I'm 5'10", so.
oh wow, are you taller than me? I'm only 5'8".
Oh.
The it's like my sister. My sister is when she's my little sister, but she's at least 2 or 3 inches taller than me now. So and
Mhm.
it's funny when we come together and we'll say, "There's my little sister," but I'm looking up to her. So
That's great.
um, what would be your next response there?
Another option, a backpacker, somebody who can go and live out of a backpack for extended periods of time.
Backpacker. Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm. Living out of a backpack for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And
I
you said
I
you've done that one too?
yeah, not as long as other people have. I only did a month, but yeah.
Hmm.
Mainly because I figured I could, you can wash your clothes in the sinks of different places. I was staying with friends, so I didn't even really need to have a hostel or worry about a place to stay. So pretty much the only thing I really paid for was flights and food. I and with just a backpack, I was able to not have to pay for any extra luggage or anything like that. Just travel different through different places with just my backpack.
Hmm. That's
You got to get
interesting.
creative with your clothes and stuff. I bring like I think I was like I had one shirt, one dress, and then leggings because they're really thin and easy to pack.
Well, I went on a trip several years ago with my best friend. He and I've been friends. His name was Trevor. We've been friends since we were 10 years old. So we drove across country, and
Mm,
we were like 19, 20 years old. So we had no money. We had no credit cards. So
nice.
what we did was we would just come we drove from Virginia down to Florida, then out to Los Angeles, and then back again. And when we would
Ooh.
sleep, we just pull up into a car rest area and just knock ourselves out then and then we go to the rest area bathrooms and just brush our teeth and wash up and that's the next one. Would that be other budget traveler
Oh
maybe?
yes, for sure, for sure.
Uh, we, we did we did spend I will say this we did in Texas we did spend one night in a hotel which was
Mm.
really, really cheap. And that's why we said, well, we can afford that. And it was a huge room. We had like I would say like maybe 4 bedrooms. It was like just the two of us. And the bedrooms were huge. So it was like really nice.
That's
And then
awesome.
we got to Las Vegas on the way back. The hotels were like dirt cheap. It was like $20 a night. Oh, the one we stayed at was like $20 a night. So I was like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, we could afford that. So so we splurged. So what little money we
Nice.
had, we splurged. So,
That's
but
great.
that was the extent of it. And I was so I was so tight with my money when we went to the casinos to gamble. I spent like maybe $2 and that was about it. So I bought a roll of nickels and I just went to put them in the nickel slot machine. And then when I was done, I said, nope, that's it. I don't want to spend anymore. I'm not going to win. So
There you go. Let's go with another option. Maybe I just had like a long haul traveler, somebody that travels for at least 3 months at a time.
a long haul traveler, is that
Yeah,
like a
like a long
trucker?
haul trucker. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. I couldn't think of a better way to say it, but somebody that prepares for travel and goes for a very long time. I know I have people that have gone for months on end. I'd say a minimum of 3 months for that kind of a deal.
Hmm, that's interesting.
I
I
mean,
told you about
that's just kind of what I was thinking.
I told you about my sister. She used to
Mhm.
be, I guess she'd fall into this category. She used to be a tractor trailer driver. After she got out of college, she decided she wanted to try something different, completely unique.
That
So she
is
became a
different.
tractor trailer driver for a whole year. So,
Oh, wow.
and so after that, she got tired of it. But
I'm sure,
uh,
but that's awesome. Oops.
yeah, and she got this. She was one of the most disgusting things she said she had to experience was the guy who taught her how to train. He had a urine jar in his truck. So,
Oh, yep. Mm. Hmm.
so and the
My
other
no, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, one more thing I'll say. Whenever she would take go to sleep at the truck stops, she
Mhm.
had to put a little sign out on her window that said "No lot lizards," meaning no prostitutes. So,
Oh, God. Never heard those kinds of stories. My dad was a long haul trucker when I was younger.
oh really? Oh okay.
Mhm. Yeah, when I
So,
was really little, he would go, California and back, and we're in New York, and, when we got a little bit older, he would do stuff where he would, be home more often, but he drove all over the place. I have a whole bunch of different things in my room that he collected from all over the US. I do remember it got to the point where he was such a seasoned driver that if they wouldn't give him off for Christmas, he would quit and just get another company in January because they just were so desperate for seasoned drivers. And he never worried about being able to get a job because they're always looking. I don't know why
interesting.
that point stuck in my head all the time, but the last few years he was doing it. He would quit, in December and get a bad job back in January.
So as far as the job that he did not own his own rig though, is
No,
what you
no,
oh, okay,
no.
okay. That's the way it was with my sister. She worked for a company called Werner.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, a lot of the truckers she had to deal with were owner operators. So
Right.
they
Yeah,
so
no, he never owned his own.
I
Yeah,
I do know. Go
mhm.
ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that my mom he drove for a few different companies. Titan was the one he drove with the longest. My mom always wanted him to drive for I don't even know what the acronym was for anymore, but the acronym was GOD. My mom always wanted him to drive for that so she could tell people he was driving for God.
Oh. It sounds like it probably sounds like it is some sort of
Yeah.
religious. For the
Yeah.
last one, why don't we just
Hmm.
leave this? I'm sorry. Did
No,
you want to
go
ask what?
leave it blank if you want, if you can.
I was
Can
gonna.
people
What I was
fill
gonna
in
say.
something
Well,
else or
yeah. Why don't we say like your choice? Like they can
Yeah, yeah.
give their own. Okay.
For
Cool.
sure, for sure.
Your choice, and then we'll add one more time. I'll say leave a comment. So
Yeah.
that works pretty well
Yeah.
because obviously the ones we left there, people were saying I don't like any of that. So this will be
Yeah, yeah, if there's another one. I've
okay.
done I've done all of them. I'm usually budget. I just went and visited my sister and my new nephew over the weekend in Florida, and I went with just my backpack the size of a personal item, which is easy because my sister and I are the same size, so we just share clothes. All I had to bring was my underthings.
Oh,
So I
wow.
didn't have to pay for anything on that either. That was pretty nice.
So how old is he? Just a few weeks old?
3 months, actually. He's 3 months now. I went down when he was born, and I went down, no, and then we met halfway in, North Carolina 'cause, our aunt just, finished a lung transplant.
Oh, wow, wow. Really? Wow,
Yeah, yeah.
that's amazing.
I
Wow.
ran that I actually ran her GoFundMe. We got the 10 grand she needed for the lung transplant, which was super great. We got it so much faster than we were expecting. People were absolutely amazingly helpful for that. She's doing all right, dealing with a little bit of rejection, but hopefully she'll be good by, Thanksgiving. We'll see.
Rejection as in, like, the body's not accepting it properly, is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But they think that they'll be able to help her um, and get her stable again. Lung transplants are usually about 5 to 10 years you get after one. Although there is a guy that had one in the 80s that's still alive, so I'm praying for that kind of situation for her, but that is rare. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Right. It's is this like one of those, like, donors, like the person that died, to get the lung, or is this something where they
Yes.
it is, okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
she was on a list for a while.
gotcha. Well, I hope everything works well with that. That
Yes.
sounds intense. That sounds really
It's
intense.
yeah, it is, it is.
Yeah.
But
Well, before we
she's
go any
pulled
further
through so far, so I think she'll be all right.
okay. Well, she's got my, best wishes, I guess the best way to put it, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, as far as the question before we post, does that look good? I'm gonna go ahead and
I
post
think
it.
so. I think so. Go for it.
Just to let you know, since this is the first time you've done this, we
Mhm.
can't make any changes. So
No,
once we
that's it.
post it,
Yeah, I think we got everything spelled right. I don't see any red squiggly lines here.
and the reason just to let you know, I think the reason YouTube does that is I don't think they want people editing. Like if you post one question and then like you get good results, and then you could change the question and
Right.
make it look like you're
Yeah,
getting
that makes
different
sense.
results. Yeah, so I think that's why they do that. So, all right,
Yeah, that
cool.
makes
Now,
sense.
sometimes if there's a word in there they don't like, they will keep the comment. They will keep people from being able to see this. I forget what
Interesting.
there was a question a couple weeks ago. We asked something about what kind of clothing people would like to wear, and as a joke, one of us put down, I don't like to wear clothing. I like to go naked or something like that. And because of I think we determined that because we used that word, we got hardly any votes on it, like less than 100, which was like
Hmm.
hardly anything. So it was
Interesting.
otherwise we couldn't figure out what was wrong with the question, why it didn't do it. YouTube will just basically make it very hard for people to see it unless they
Huh.
come to the channel and actually look at it. In case you're wondering as well, these questions will go to my viewers, plus they'll go to random people that are looking on a mobile device. So
Okay.
after when they see a video, when the video is done, this will randomly go to certain people and they'll be able to have a chance to answer it. And so, and
That's
it's
interesting.
not completely my audience, but it's mostly my audience from what I understand. So, and
All right.
if I'm getting that wrong, someone tell me, let me know. But I'm not trying to say I know everything. I sure as hell don't. But I just want to make sure if someone out there knows for sure, you can always leave a comment and let me know what I'm getting wrong there. But I think I'm mostly right on that one. So
All right.
cool. So let's talk. I want to talk about your script writing. You have quite a list of places you've written for,
It's
including the
actually
John Stewart
script
thing.
supervisor isn't actually writing. So what a script supervisor
Oh, sorry.
does is best way I can describe it is you know how everybody on the internet saw the Starbucks cup on that episode of Game of Thrones?
Oh, barely. I barely remember that. I do remember
Yeah.
hearing about that. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm the person on set that makes sure that doesn't happen.
Oh,
Or to make sure that, if somebody's holding a full glass of water in one hand, it cuts away and cuts back. It's now a full glass of soda. It's basically we're also called continuity supervisors. And we just make sure that everything matches from shot to shot. and make sure that the a whole script is shot. So if we have a specific thing in the script, make sure all of it gets covered. A conversation, every conversation from every angle that we need, make sure it's all covered by all of the shots. And if you ever see anything in somebody, like an actor calling out line, the person that reads the lines, that would be me as well. So we're just following the script, making sure it's all covered and making sure each shot matches to the next one. Because, movies aren't shot in order. They're mostly shot by location. So all of the scenes for each location are usually filmed at the same time. And sometimes it's different days. So we want to make sure each of the looks match for the days. If they have something in their hand, it's got to be in the same hand in the next scene, even if they're shot on different days. So it's that's my job. It's nothing to do with writing the script at all. It's making sure that what's written comes across on the page, on the in the visual.
I gotcha. Now, I do have a couple of questions concerning
Sure.
that. Yeah, I'm sure you go to great efforts to make sure everything is perfect and everything, but
Mhm.
I'm sure that I'm guessing anyway, that there's been
Mhm.
situations after everything's done filming, they do the editing, and then
Yeah.
they realize, "Oh, something's not right here, we need to edit it this way," and then all that work you did was basically not
Yes.
it doesn't really matter because it's
Yeah,
gonna be
so, 99% of the time when you do see one of those mistakes, it was because the editor, like, something in editing, usually it's because, like, it didn't look as good in this take, and even though it doesn't quite match, we're gonna use it anyway because the acting's better or something like that, or I'm sure with the whole Starbucks cup thing, it just the actors must have all hit their marks perfectly in that take, and when they pulled the cup away and did it again, it wasn't as good or something like that. So it's like there's only so much you can do. You can try as hard as you can, but something will slip through somehow.
Gotcha. For me, when I was younger, I used to look at that stuff and I'd point out, oh, look, I saw something that was a
Mhm.
blunder or a mistake or whatever you want to call it in the movie or TV show or movie. But and by the way, Sandeep Mohanar, a regular viewers, just said hi. Hi
Mhm.
back to you, Sandeep. Um,
Well, hello.
but as I've gotten older, it's like it doesn't bother me at all anymore.
Mhm.
I just think it's like, it's like it's if it's a little bit of a, off, like, the continuity is off, it's like, okay, it's not a big deal. It's not,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But,
And
I
there's
guess
just there's so many things to watch for, and it's everybody on set usually tries, but it's like specifically a the continuity supervisor is kind of an army of one. So we're watching the script, making sure they're hitting all the lines, making sure we're covering everything, making sure each thing matches, making sure all of the set pieces are in the right spot. Obviously, I have to work with hair and makeup, I have to work with wardrobe, I have to work with props and everything to make sure everything matches all the time. So it's a lot to work with. I think it works for me. I do have ADHD, and if I don't have enough to focus on, my brain will get bored and wander off. So with so many different details I have to follow, it's really a good thing for me, and it keeps my brain engaged with everything going on. So yeah.
well yeah, well, getting into the continuity, let's say, with hair,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what gender someone is, because
Mhm.
you can see people on screen and you know that their hair is gonna be different. If, all it takes is, like, about what, maybe a couple of weeks, then,
Yep.
and you have to go that must be a pain, right? If you have to tell
Oh
them, like,
yeah.
they do their hair all over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, hair and makeup usually takes pictures every single day to make sure that everything matches. They're always sending pictures, and usually we'll have like a drive so that all of the pictures are in the same place for that kind of a thing. But somebody's hair grows. So if you're filming one scene this week, you try and cut it exactly the same 3 weeks later to match what we did before. But it is, hair is a living thing, and it happens. So we try to get do as best you can, but sometimes it is a little difficult.
And, have you ever done, a continuity where I don't know if this would be continuity per se,
Mhm.
if you were doing a show and say maybe a season or two later they do like a
Mhm.
flashback or something to a previous season,
Mhm.
um, the continuity then would be I would be much even would be even harder
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I think the best example I can think of for that, How I Met Your Mother did a lot of those flashbacks, and the hair is usually the dead giveaway because the girl's hair in the whole thing changes every season. So they're clearly wearing wigs if they're doing flashback things. So that, you can either A, get your hair cut, which you won't match for the season you're currently shooting, or you go for the wig, which fairly obvious, but it's kind of fun. At least in How I Met Your Mother, which is a comedy, it's fun. Some dramas, it may be a little more noticeable and a little make the thing a little less believable, but you're always kind of like, huh, I see what you did there. Because you can't really change it if it's a certain way for the new season. Mostly it's you gotta go for a wig. There are a lot of wigs in filming.
That would be just a that would even to me that would seem even harder though, finding a wig to match. How would you
They
even?
make them. They're
Wow.
custom made. Yeah, usually
Oh,
they're
okay.
custom made.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
For bigger
I,
budget things anyway. For smaller budgets, you work with what you got, but for bigger budget things, usually they're custom made, yeah.
so is there anything? And now, want to before I do want to ask what else you do, but as
Mhm.
are there any people like these little nitpicky little nerds that send any emails or messages? Do you ever see any of these saying you messed up here? I saw this that didn't match up. Do you get anything like that?
Um, I honestly, I don't think people really know that we exist as a
Yeah.
specific unit. So when they're sending those kinds of emails, it's usually like to the studio or to the director, but the director doesn't see these things like at all. They're not focused on that at all. The director's focused on the actors themselves and how their performance is coming across. People usually say, "Oh, this director let this happen." It's like the director doesn't see any of that. They're not even remotely focused on any of that. That's why there's a whole team here to make sure they don't have to focus on any of that. But people don't really see the team members. Not many people sit through, the credits and actually look at the different jobs and say, "Oh, I wonder what they had to work for, what they had to do on set." So
Right.
none of that really comes back on script supervisors as a department because people don't really know we're here.
Right. Well, what I meant was I assumed like they if there maybe like fans would send into a general email or
Mhm.
correspondence, and you would filter down to you is what I meant. So
Oh, yeah, I've never seen it myself, so, but I don't know if I've worked on anything big enough. The feature I worked on called Triple Threat is amazing, and it's making rounds in what's it called? Film festivals and things like that. Which I don't know. I think I did a pretty good job matching on that one, especially since there is the one thing in one scene to another, the girl's jewelry changes completely, but I don't take fault for that one because her dog ate the jewelry. So we didn't really have it to work with. That
Right.
happens too.
You mean
uh,
in real life, not in the script.
oh, in real life, yeah, no, her dog, she wore the jewelry home and the dog ate it.
So
So
funny. Is the dog okay?
Yeah, he was fine. He just destroyed the jewelry, so we had to match it as best we could. And it's very clear if you ever watch the movie, you'll see her jewelry change from one scene to the next. If you can find it around, Triple Threat Film by Besties Make Movies. They make a lot of good stuff.
Here we go. I'm bringing up a link right now. So
Yeah, go for it.
let's see. Give me a second here. Bring you back up on my screen. Okay, is this it right here? I'm on
Let's
IMDb. Triple Threat
no,
2019. No.
no, it is not.
Oops, wrong
Let's
one. Let me go back.
see. Let me see if I can find it. The
What year did it
poster's
come out?
like blue and purple. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, I'm full screen on that. That's why I can't do anything.
Triple Threat. There's TV show in 2020. Oh no, a TV. I'm sorry, TV movie in 2021. I'm a little off my on that part.
Let's see. That one. Look, that one there that you look the pink and purple. Yeah, that one. Click that. Let's see.
There it comes. Take a second here. Is
That's
that it?
it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's got well so far it's got a 9.4 out of
Yeah,
9.
it's a story about people. a relationship between three best friends on the verge of their Broadway debut, is put to the test when diverging dreams meet realities of adulthood. So it's really great. It's set in, like the Broadway world. They're trying to make a Broadway show happen. There's a lot of music and it's incredible. The picture of the woman singing there, her voice is just phenomenal.
Hmm. So bring her up here.
Her name,
Is that her?
Audrey Wilson. Audrey, yeah, her voice. Ori. I keep saying it
Ari
wrong.
Krebs.
Ori
Krebs.
Curbs. Yeah, her
Is that
voice.
Krebs? Oh, Krebs. Is that Krebs? Krebs? Am I got that right? Oh, you there? Uh-oh. I think I lost you. Let's see. If you can, I think we lost Rachel there. Rachel, if you can hear me, let me know. All right, we'll wait till see if she can reconnect. If you can hear me, you can try disconnecting and then trying that link I sent you again, so you can come back up. I can reconnect you there. So this is in the meantime, until I can actually connect again with her. The movie Triple Threat, released in 2020. Uh, the the link is on IMDb, of course, so you can go there. Um, I as far as and Sandy Mohanar was asking the yeah she's disconnected there, so hopefully she'll connect back up again. We'll come back up here. So Sandeep was asking what we're talking about. So what we're doing is we're interviewing Rachel, and Rachel, oh, hold on, Rachel's back up. Hold on a second, bring her back up. Give me a second. Rachel, are you there?
Yes, sorry, my internet decided it was gonna blip on us.
That's
Sorry
cool.
about
I was just discussing who you were because we had a
that.
question. Sandeep was asking who you were, so what we were discussing.
Oh,
So
okay.
what in a few words, could you describe best describe what you how who you are, I guess, to so
Who I
that
am?
yeah.
That's a big question. I always wonder about that when people ask you, "Who are you?" How do you just describe your whole life right there? Well, I guess who am I? Kind of a nerd. Um, I like reading and writing, watching films, TV, working on films because it's as close to magic as I can get, and I love magic. Um, I love cats, obviously. More of a cat person than a dog person. Hmm. I feel like I'm just blathering on. I love traveling. Um,
Uh,
I
so
really don't know how to answer that question when people ask me.
but so how did you get the job as a script supervisor? That sounds like it's
Oh,
did you
okay. That's a good
did you have
one.
to before you answer, a lot of times I've been working in radio since
Mhm,
1992. So whenever
mm,
I get a job, it's usually because I know somebody that works at the radio station or the radio network or whatever it is. It's very hard to get a job in radio unless you actually know somebody.
mhm,
The reason I was able to get a start in radio is because I took a couple of internships, and that
mhm.
led me to I got to meet some people at the internships, and then from there I was able to branch off my career and go from there. So I'm curious if it's something similar to that.
You want the long version or the short version?
What do you think the audience would like? What do you think
I don't
would
know. I mean, either way is pretty good. So let's I can give the shortish, longish version.
okay?
So I didn't really know what I wanted to do after high school, so I went to community college. I had one teacher that I liked, so I decided to take everything that she taught just to see. What she taught turned out to be television production and radio production. So I did both of those, and I really liked them both. I like television production a lot more. So I found a film school and I went and did that. And at film school, I was more into the television production side than the film side. I still really like television production, especially live television. It's really quick, fast paced, and fun. I did some internships after that for The Daily Show and for WWE. And then I had a friend that was doing a film, and the person that she had as the script supervisor was just falling asleep, not caring, not doing anything. It was a student film, so nobody was being paid. But And so she was like, "Hey, I need somebody I can trust. Can you do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it." And I loved it. It was awesome. And so when I that was before I got the internships for like the Daily Show and WWE. So then I did those, and then I did another internship at a place that made Macy's commercials, mostly in the office. And then I talked to someone there and who was like, "How can I help you with your career?" And I was like, "Well, I like television production, but I also like script supervising." And she was like, "Oh, no, that's boring. I won't help you with that." And I was like, oh, all right. So that threw me off completely. Then after that, I was a little like nervous about all of it. I don't know. It like she threw me for a huge loop. So I went and traveled for a while. I lived in Spain for a year. Um, and when I came back, I was like, you know what? I really want to try doing the script supervisor thing. So I was looking online for opportunities. And Triple Threat was actually the first thing I did when I came back to try and get back into script supervising. I did do that for free. So that was fun. Traveling to New York City, I live about 90 miles outside of the city. But after that, getting a slow and steady stream of script supervising work, a lot from the same company that made Triple Threat, the Besties Make Movies. They make a lot of good stuff. And just people that I've met through them that have worked on the same sets have called me to different sets that they've worked on. I was getting a lot of work. And then what happened to everybody happened to me too. The pandemic completely shut everything down. And I finally had my first job since the pandemic started in June. And now I have another one next week.
Oh,
So starting to slowly pick back up again.
I was wondering about that. I heard everything had shut down.
Oh
The
yeah.
business, the business I am, radio did not flinch at all. For me, as
Yeah, no,
business
that's
as
why I
usual.
was trying to look into podcasting, and that's how I started with like editing podcasts. Because I was like, I need something I can do. I like the work that I do at the nonprofit, but it's not in the industry, and I wanted something I could safely do from my home and still be in the industry. And one of my favorite podcasts was like, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to help us with some stuff. So if you guys want to, you can email us." And I waited about a week because I was like, I don't know, I wonder if I can do that. And then I thought, you know what, I'll just go for it. And I sent them an email, and I've been working for them ever since.
What is the nonprofit?
The nonprofit is called Literacy Connections of the Hudson Valley.
Oh, okay. And,
Hmm.
I think you described this, forgive me if it was before we started the show or after we started the show, but what you said it was to help people learn English, is that right?
Yeah, so we recruit volunteers to help people either learn English for the first time or to learn how to read and write. It's for adults mostly, and we do have a children's program, but that scaled back a lot with COVID. We're trying to build it back up again. But yes, mostly it's adults that never were able to learn to read for one reason or another. Either the school system failed them, or they have a disability, or they just had to drop out of school for whatever reason, and now they want to learn. We
Mm.
do have mostly English as a foreign language students, but we do have quite a few people that just need to learn and read and write for the first time.
I have heard, although when as I grew up, I mean, maybe you can shed some light on
Hmm.
this. That if you're a child, you can learn a foreign language easier. However,
Yes.
more recently though, there's a
Hmm.
YouTube channel called Today. It's called Today I Found Out. They actually said no, that's a myth. That it's
Okay.
actually the other way around. That adults actually learn faster than children. And it's I was just curious if how would you respond to that? They give a very detailed video, and I'm not saying they're right. However, I do
Hmm.
respect a lot of things they have to say because they do a lot of actual research. They don't just go on the internet and type and look up things. They actually do
Right.
actual research for their videos. And I was actually surprised. They give a lot of detailed responses. I unfortunately I don't remember exactly what they said.
No,
But how do
I
you
can see that. I think it's because if you're trying to teach a kid another language, you're probably teaching them their main language and the second language at the same time. And so it might seem like it's faster for them to pick it up, and it might be, if you're teaching a kid, I don't even know, like the word pencil in two different languages at the same time, instead of, having to erase in your brain that this is only called a pencil and add other things in there, versus a kid where you're saying this is pencil, or it's, I shouldn't have picked pencil because I don't have the word for that in another language at the moment in my head. But, to me, it was uh, always that, like, I have to add this into my brain rather than saying, okay, at the same time, this is the word for this and this is the word for this. If we're learning something new, it's easier, I think, that way. Um, I don't know if that makes sense. And I was thinking for adults, it's more like, you actively want to learn something, especially like the people that come to us, they actively want to learn English. You're really focusing on what you want to do. A kid's not really focusing on it. I don't know. I think there are advantages and disadvantages of both. Um, but kids are just kind of learning because you're putting it in front of them. You have to learn this, so you're going to learn this. Adults are like, are actively trying to learn it, so you would probably absorb the information a little quicker. I don't know if that made sense.
It does. I guess, as far as the people you have to teach, does that mean you have to learn another language, or do you speak another language? I guess is the question.
um You would think living in Spain for a year would have helped with that, but it didn't. Spanish, for some reason, does not want to stick into my head at all. And I lived in Barcelona, which was a combination of French, Italian, and Spanish. It's Catalan is mostly what they speak. So I got by mostly with my high school French and with my English. Not to mention my roommate helped me, and then I had a friend living there that and he spoke English and Spanish. So my Spanish did not improve at all. I've been teaching myself Japanese because that's super useful for my life. Um, Other than the fact that I just like that language. So, no, the answer is no. I don't speak another language, at least not well enough to have a conversation with somebody.
Hmm.
And we usually go for full immersion classes. So, trying to get your point across in English rather than resorting to using a foreign language or using like Google Translate or something like that.
Okay. I use Google Translate on a regular basis, so
Mhm.
it's almost like my best friend right now. So so then, as far as the language, I mean, there must be a huge barrier there.
There can be. We do get some people that come in that speak absolutely no English whatsoever. So that in the beginning, mostly it's a lot of, holding up a pencil and saying the word pencil and then repeating them, showing them a picture and pointing to different things. And, just a few, you do have to use the translator if they're that low of a level. We get people that know the basics, like, hello, my name is, that kind of a thing. So there's always some place to start with, and just keep building on it.
Well, I got a scenario that maybe you could relate to. I don't know.
Okay.
I worked when I was much younger. Before I went to school, I worked in a few different shops. I worked on cars, and a lot of the shops I worked in, I was the only white American that was there. And I
Hmm.
say that because everyone else was from another country, and
Hmm.
they were the English was not their primary language,
Hmm.
and they were very friendly people. One shop I worked at, there were people. One guy was from Syria, had another guy at that same shop who was Chinese, another guy also from the Middle East. Not it wasn't Syria, but it was another country. It might be I want to say Jordan, but I'm not sure. Whatever it was,
Okay.
whatever it was, we got along great, fine. But the problem I always had was because they were not raised here. They did not know all the little nuances of the English language. It
Hmm.
created even though we could speak to each other fine, it
Hmm.
was there was still a barrier there between us because they didn't understand they didn't fully understand the English language like I did. And so
Right.
I had to explain things to them and they just still wouldn't understand what I was talking about. After a
Hmm.
while it would get a little frustrating, but I wouldn't get angry, but it was just kind of
Right.
frustrating having to do that. Do you have to deal with something that's like that?
Yeah, a bit. There's a lot of we use a lot more idioms than we think we do, and they don't always translate well. So I think that is a barrier thing. And then sometimes we say, one word and it means a different thing. Like sick doesn't always just mean you're sick, sick means awesome, you know? There's just a lot of colloquialisms and a lot of just so many more idioms than you'd think there were when you're having a normal conversation, you know, or even metaphors are a little weird for people that are from a different, you know, different language. And I mean, other people obviously in different languages have metaphors and things like that, which is why some people are like, oh, that saying wouldn't translate or things like that. Um, it there's so many of those different types of things in English that people aren't really aware of because you don't actively think about it when you're speaking with somebody else until it comes up when they're like, "What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense." And you're like, "Oh, how do I even explain that?"
Yeah, and then you're talking about people that are not native English speaking. Is that what you mean when
Yeah,
you say?
yeah. They, we talk about, we talk about things in English, like I said, we use a lot of idioms and metaphors and, Um, it's something you don't think about until somebody asks you to explain what you mean, like,
Right.
I'm trying to even think of something, like,
I
I
can
put
give you
my
an
own
example.
self on the spot, and then I
I
can't think
can
of anything.
I can give you an example. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
give you an example. Okay. I had a license plate. What I'll do is I'll bring up Microsoft Word so you can see what it
Mm,
said. As a
okay.
license plate, it was just a joke. Nothing. It wasn't meant to be. There was nothing offensive about it. Hold on a second.
Okay.
And I was. Let me bring this up here. Give me a second. You're right. I have too many windows up. Okay, here we go. So this is Microsoft Word 2000, by the way, and I'm using it on Windows 10.
Ooh,
So
fun.
okay, so big text. So hopefully you can see it. This was the license plate I had. Dumb tag. Okay, so
Okay.
it's just a simple joke. Basically, I shouldn't have to explain. Most people who speak English can get the joke. Basically, you have a license plate. You put some sort of silly comment on there. You know.
Uh-huh.
So basically, mine is just here's another dumb tag, essentially.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
um, so, there was a guy from another country. He walked up to me. And he said, what does your plate mean?" I said, "Oh, and I tried to explain it to him. He just didn't get it. He said, no,
Mm.
what does it mean?" And it's like, after a while, I was like, I just kind of gave up. I wasn't trying to, because it's like he wasn't from the United States. He
Right.
didn't fully understand English, even though he was speaking it pretty well.
Mhm.
It's just like I just
Yeah,
couldn't
it
get
just
across to him. Yeah.
doesn't translate.
Right, right, and I think that's what you're kinda trying to get at, right? Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So, and, yeah, that can get a little frustrating, so
Mhm.
for me, it's I know for you, maybe
No, yeah, I mean, you just gotta work on explaining different things, like, the one I remember I had to try and explain to somebody to get certified for what I'm doing, one of the idioms was, "Your eyes are bigger than your stomach," and, like, you can say that in a normal everyday conversation, and somebody, another, uh, person speaking English will be like, "Oh, I know exactly what you mean," but somebody foreign is like might be like, "What are you even talking about? What does that mean? Your eyes look normal to me." And you just kind of have to explain specifically what that means. There's just so many different little things like that that we don't even notice in everyday conversation, and that puts up another barrier.
right, and let me ask you, do you I assume you enjoy what you do, I don't know, maybe I don't do you?
Yeah, yeah, it's fun.
Okay,
I don't teach as much. I mostly I cover Orange County, New York. So I'm mostly recruiting the volunteers at this point. I don't have anyone specifically. I'm always looking for volunteers. So if anybody happens to be in Orange County, New York, reach out if you want to tutor somebody. But
yeah, I can if you have a link or something, I can always
yeah,
add
sure.
that to the description, so, yeah, when the show is done, I'll get information, and we can add that there, as so people can click on that link and
Hmm.
volunteer. Orange County, is that west of New York City?
North.
North of New York City, okay, is that getting, like, toward the Hudson Valley
Northwest,
area?
but yeah, 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 it's smack dab in the Hudson Valley right in the middle
Okay,
there. Mhm.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, so we're, I don't know, takes 80 miles north of New York City. Where I live, I'm about 90 miles north of New York City.
Okay.
If I'm driving the speed limit, it takes me hour and a half, 2 hours. If I'm not driving the speed limit, a little bit faster.
Is are you a native New Yorker?
Yes. Yeah, I've always lived right in this area in the Hudson Valley.
Oh, okay. Uh,
Hmm.
My, I know this is really has nothing relevant to you then because my dad is from New York, but he's from Long Island. So
Oh, yes, yes. My
it,
great aunt lived in Long Island. You can always pick out that accent right away.
yeah, yes. My dad's accent. He's lived in the DC area since the mid '60s, so his has faded
Mm.
away. But once in a while, when he gets together with relatives, you can hear it come back in a little bit. So if you there's a little town in midway across the island, about halfway across, called Ronkonkoma. If you
Yeah.
name, that's where he's from. If he ever hears that name mentioned, he just goes like, he gets so excited like that's the oh my god, they mentioned my town, Ronkonkoma.
Yeah, yeah.
So as far as the volunteering, is this a as if anyone wants to do this, is it
Mhm.
how many hours could they put in? Would it be like as many as they could handle, or is it like a set
Yeah, we usually ask that people put in about an hour and a half to 2 hours a week. I have some people that do more. I have some people that do every other week. I'm always looking for somebody to do group classes at the Newburgh Library or the Middletown Library or the Port Jervis Library. Um, Mostly Newburgh and Middletown right now. That's been empty for a while, and the people that I had doing it before are still not interested in coming back because they don't feel safe enough at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Libraries do require masks and distancing, so it is as safe as they can make it, and the groups wouldn't be more than 5 people.
Interesting. The differences from where you are versus where I am, people in this area, there's no concern for anything at this point. It
Oh,
seems like
wow.
everything's just pretty much back to normal. I've been not because of any COVID or anything. I've actually been isolated in my home because of my business. I get so engrossed in what I have to do that I just don't
Hmm.
leave out for long periods of time.
Mm.
And I actually left today to go. I drove for about 75 miles, which is unheard of for me. And the people were
Mm.
like, you wouldn't even know that there was any kind of COVID
Wow.
issue at all in
Mm.
Virginia or Maryland. It's
Interesting.
basically back business as normal before
Hmm.
everything started. So,
Wow.
and I hear stories about what you say, and it's like I'm like, wow, really? It's like interesting
Oh,
how
yeah.
different parts of the country are still,
Hmm.
different mentalities.
Yeah.
I can definitely say I could walk into like the supermarket where I live, and people are like, It's no big deal. It's
Hmm.
and I heard in more urban areas, it's completely different. So,
Yeah, yeah. We're about 50-50 here on masks. People seem to mostly wear them, but a lot of, people are starting to stop wearing them. But places like schools and libraries and government buildings all require masks, things like that. There are some events that require masks, some events that don't. I'm actually going to a Monkees concert
monkey.
in 2 weeks. Yeah, the Monkees, they were my favorite band since forever. They are from the 60s, so it's just two elderly men now, and their concert does require the vaccine proof of vaccination and masks, which doesn't surprise me at all because they are not in the greatest health, and I didn't think they would want people singing at them all night without any kind of protection. um, but there are some events that fully require it, and then there was a Harry Potter trivia night that I really wanted to go to, but it was 600 people, it was indoors, it was unmasked. I was like, "Nope, can't do that. Don't feel comfortable going there."
Oh, I'll go jump back to the monkeys if we could.
Yeah, go
I,
for it.
you
I
said
can
only
talk about the
two.
Monkees all day.
Are there only two left, or
Yes, Mickey Dolenz and Mike Nesmith. Davy
and
Jones passed away a few years ago, and Peter Tork just recently passed away.
I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I heard about Davy Jones. Okay, I heard about that, but I didn't know about the other.
yeah,
As far, but what about because obviously they weren't the ones that were actually performing the music when the show was new.
they
So
were.
they
They
were.
were, yeah. There are so many fun stories about that. They were brought together as specifically actors, but they were actually singing on the show. And the show brought them together, and it took them a while to fight to be able to make their own music because they
Hmm.
realized that they were really having fun. They liked what they were doing. They all had, a good enough sound. Um, Mickey Dolenz's mother actually was an opera singer, and he came home and said, "Ma, I did this show. Look and see, how proud you could be of me." So he showed her the show, and she smacked him upside the head and said, "You are going to practice singing until you don't sound that bad anymore." I always thought that was a funny story. She was so horrified that he was singing like that without proper practice because she had been an opera singer. Um, and yeah, that's kind of how they started. They had to fight to get themselves to be able to release their own music.
No,
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No, go for it.
I'm wondering how many of my audience actually knows the Monkees, because at this point they're probably going, "Who?"
That's
They're probably
probably true. That's probably true because everybody knows who the Beatles are, but everybody should know who the Monkees are. They even recorded some stuff together. They were in the studio for a few things, especially Mickey. He was friends with Paul, I think.
Oh,
Paul and
really?
Ringo, yeah. They
Hmm.
they were around at the same time, but the Monkees weren't taken very seriously because they started as a TV show and not the band. The TV show, by the way, if you can find episodes on the internet, amazing, hilarious. It still stands up. It's not offensive in any way for the 60s. It's just they're super cute. And their music, I've loved their music my entire life, their entire life. Um, they're called yeah, The New
Er,
Monkees, 1987.
I was going to say this one.
Oh,
Do you remember
goodness.
this show?
No, I do not.
There was what happened was the Monkees TV show during was broadcast on MTV as a during the 1980s, and they became very, very. I don't know if you remember. I don't know how old you are, so I can't say. But
I just turned 31, so
okay, okay, so you wouldn't probably wouldn't remember this, but I do.
mm-mm.
The Monkees were extremely popular on MTV during the mid '80s, and
Okay.
so what they did was they said, "Well, they're so popular, let's bring them back." Instead of bringing them
Oh,
back,
no.
they came up with a new show called The New Monkees.
Oh, no, I haven't heard that at all. Oh
And
my god, that is 80s all over, look at that.
it had nothing to do with the original Monkees at all.
Oh,
So
man.
and, the show, failed miserably, so
Oh, it looks like it would.
I remember it. I don't know why. I don't think anyone remembers this one at all,
Wow, yeah.
but I do remember the Monkees. They were immensely popular during the mid '80s, and it was because of MTV.
Wow,
So,
wow, that's awesome. No, I love them, and, like, Daydream Believer, that's the Monkees, man. Every time I hear the Smash Mouth version, I always get a little sad.
what as far as the Monkees, wasn't there actual, other people that were involved in
Yeah,
the music and
yeah,
playing the
um,
instruments?
yeah, there were, yeah, but it's mainly the core group there. They didn't get to write any of their own stuff at the beginning. They had to fight to be able to do that, to separate themselves from just the show, to be able to create their own stuff. Because they were supposed to just be a TV show, but they were like, "We wanna be a real band," and the network was like, nope." So they had to fight for a while to be able to be their own band and not just part of the TV show. And they've been going for years and years and years and years, and I'm still seeing them now, you know?
Uh-huh. How about the car they drove? You remember
Oh,
that car?
yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
GTO?
That
A
thing was
very
awesome.
a custom GTO, very
Mhm.
and there's a very I don't know, what's the I can't remember the guy that I think of oh, I can't remember his name. He did a lot of custom cars during the '60s. I'm not sure if he
Mm.
was responsible for this one or not, but
Mhm.
it's a very heavily modified
Oh,
GTO.
yeah. I love
Mhm.
that too, yeah, it's pretty awesome, it's pretty awesome.
Mm. Did
Um,
did you collect, anything from the Monkees? Did you have, like, a collection or anything?
I have a few albums, and a few that I got signed as well. I got Peter's signature before he passed away, but I never got anything from Davey before he passed away. I actually had the opportunity to see them once, but I was 6, and my mom said no. So I always tease her, I'll never forgive her for that because had a chance to see all 4 of them. Not that I probably would have remembered, but hey, I remember not getting to go. So who's to say I wouldn't have remembered that concert?
Mm.
But I do remember I was like 6 and she was like, "No, you can't go to a concert like that." I was like, "Well, that was the last chance I ever had to see Davey." He passed away, a few years after that.
Now, as far as, I see. I always I didn't know what this these what you're telling me. I didn't know that. I always thought it was
Hmm.
like only two of them were actual musicians, from Michael Nesmith
No,
and who's the one on the top left? I'm
Peter
sorry.
Tork.
Yeah, Peter. I thought
He
those were the
had
ones.
his own band as well, Blue Suede Shoes.
And
Peter
but
Tork did.
I thought Davy Jones and the other one. I'm sorry, I don't remember their names. You forgive me.
Mike is on the top there.
They
No,
I
that's
think
Mickey Dolenz is on the top with Peter Tork. That one's Davy Jones. There you have your mouse on.
right. I thought those two were not musicians, from what I understood. Is that right? Or
No,
is
Davy's a singer. He can't play any instruments, but he's a singer. He's singing a lot of those things.
okay?
Yep. Mickey Dolenz, he's plays drums pretty well, and he does bass now, I think. Peter Tork definitely knew how to play the guitar, and like I said, he had his own other band called Blue Suede Shoes.
Oh, that I did know. Yeah, I heard
Mhm,
not. I didn't know the name of the band, but I knew he was definitely into
mhm,
something. And then Michael Nesmith was as
mhm.
well, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember what his was, but yeah. But now it's just Mickey Dolenz and Mike Nesmith that are left, and they are. I think it's called the Monkees present the Mickey and Mike show. I think is what it's called now that they're doing.
Oh, okay.
So
The
I think they have some newer music and they've got, they do their old stuff. And what I think is cool that they do, some people don't like it, some people do. They isolate Davy Jones' voice and Peter Tork's voice and from their old albums. And that way when they're singing the songs, they still have their voices for the music. I kind of like it. I think it's cool. Some people don't like that whole thing, but I don't mind it.
hmm. The and you know, of course, about Michael Nesmith's mother, right?
Um, I'm not sure.
She's the one that created Whiteout.
Oh, I
The
feel like I did know that. Yeah. Now that
yeah,
you, yeah, okay.
yeah. So she made a fortune off of that. She was and so I think Michael Nesmith lives off that. If maybe I'm wrong. I thought he lived off that fortune.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, she had something like that.
It's like it's just a simple thing like whiteout. Of course,
Yeah, yeah.
we don't really need it nowadays because we don't
Right.
use typewriters anymore. But I mean, that was a very. I remember using whiteout because I didn't have a back in the day when I'd type up my old resumes and type up, making mistakes. Yep,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
it was a miracle. It was a little savior of things. I was have to go back in there and type the whole thing all over again. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and especially me with you saw me how I'm typing. Imagine being on a typewriter.
Yeah.
The as far as any other bands, are you? Is anyone else out there? Are you a fan of them? I obviously I'm saying obviously. Were the
Mhm.
Monkees based on the Beatles? Weren't is that right?
I'm not sure. I mean, I always do my hardest not to equate the two of them because, everybody knows the Beatles. Oh my gosh, it's the Beatles. And I always love the Monkees and I always wanted to say the Monkees are better than the Beatles, but people throw things at me when I say that, so I try not to.
Hmm. The,
I'm not sure exactly.
because I thought I remember they were. They kind of remind me of some of the stuff that was going on like with the some of the Beatles movies. Have you ever seen any of the Beatles movies?
No, I haven't.
Yellow Submarine comes to mind, but that was more of
Mm,
an animation thing. I can't remember. Not there was some of the Beatles movies were more psychedelic than others, more like they're on a
mhm.
drug thing. But
Right.
others were kind of, and some of them had more zany stuff, more like Monty Python's. Have you ever seen Monty Python? The old Monty Python
Yeah,
show?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like that, kind of like that, and that's what comes.
Mhm.
That's what the Monkeys I remember is like that kind of
Yeah, yeah,
get
it's
into the
that
zany stuff.
silly, zany comedy fun. Yeah.
And is what? So, are there any other bands out there you like, or is this or
I mean, yeah, I like Fun. That they always had some good stuff. I like the
okay?
Mowgli's. I always love them. They're also like happy.
Who's fun? You're
Fun?
going
Oh, I'm sorry. Fun. They
is
had
that
that song that you would totally know if you heard it. The now that I can't think of anything, I always put my own self on the spot. Yeah,
see, fun band. Is that them?
that's them.
Oh, okay. Is this more? You have pardon my. You forgive me if my ignorance on this, but
No, it's okay.
are they? Is this more recent? I assume it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I I
Yeah,
I, I
this.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have this
No,
period
no.
in my life from 1997 till 2013 where I was devoted too much to my career and I didn't focus on pop culture stuff, movies and TV shows. So oftentimes what happens if something became popular during that period of time, people will say something and I'll be like, I've never heard of that. And they'll go, what?
Mhm.
You've never heard of this? And I was surprised you didn't say that to me because
Oh,
it's one of my
yeah, no, I mean, you know that song, that "We Are Young"? That was their main, that was their big one that came out featuring
okay.
Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd play it for everybody, but YouTube
Mhm. Yeah,
copyright.
YouTube would definitely not.
Yeah, they get it in an instant. So unfortunately, even though we have, it would be under fair use. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
They'd still get us. And I don't want to risk it. So, but yeah,
Mm, yeah.
the as far as I'm curious. Why? When did your fascination with the monkeys start? When you were you
Oh,
obviously.
when I was really, yeah, they're the first music I ever remember listening to, I think is probably what it was. I remember listening to the Monkees and liking music, and it, when you're young, you have, first few memories of things. The Monkees are like my first memory of music.
That has got to be one of those interesting things to have the first memory of the monkey. I
Yeah.
and I gotta say the monkeys are I like the monkeys, I really do, but,
Mhm.
I don't I honestly don't know what my first memory is, but it's not the monkeys, and it's so cool to know somebody that has that as their first memory, it really is, so,
Mhm.
any other
Yeah.
kind of music do you like? Uh,
I mean, Spice Girls are always great. You gotta know who the Spice Girls are, I'm
yeah, yeah,
sure.
I've seen I saw they had a movie, I think, right? Back
Oh,
in
yes. Oh,
okay,
Spice World,
yes.
fantastic film.
Are you, any kind of like not specific bands, but like kind of formats of music, like country, rock,
Oh
anything?
gosh, anything but country, honestly.
You and I will get along fine with that because I hate country music is something
Oh,
I
it's
just
the
cannot.
worst. It's such the worst. I don't know how people listen to it. I'm sorry for anybody listening that loves country music, but, everybody's gotta be wrong about something.
Yeah. You know what happens
Sorry.
if you know what happens if you play a country song backwards, right?
Oh god, what?
You get your job back, you get your girl comes back to you, and your dog comes back home.
Oh, that's great.
I had to work in a shop, well, I told you I used to work on cars. It was only for, like, 6 years I did this, but I worked in a
Mhm.
shop where the guy, he was the head mechanic of the shop, I was not. So,
Uh-huh.
because he had all these loyal customers, they let him do anything that he wanted to do, and he played his country music as loud as he wanted to all day long. And I had to work there 8 hours a day, and I was just so it was so I was so aggravated. I just wanted to scream by the end of the day. The, I tried to bring my music in, but they told me I couldn't play it because, his music took a preference. So,
Interesting.
the, so anyway, let's go ahead and I would like to bring back our question from earlier. Let's see what we
Yes, I just looking at that, actually.
oh,
Got a few votes here.
you're cheating. You're not supposed to
I
do
know. Oh, I
that.
didn't know I wasn't supposed to look.
I'm just kidding.
I
You can
voted myself as well.
oh my goodness. The votes are skewed now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No long haul travelers here right now.
Actually, we do. We do.
Oh, 2%. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
there we go.
so
So,
what kind of traveler are you? Leave a description, leave a comment. 65 votes so far. 60% with the in the lead with luxury traveler. Uh,
Mhm.
next one down, 18% with budget traveler. Actually, those are pretty much going in order except for the last
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
12% with backpacker, 8% with their own choice, and then long haul
Mhm.
traveler, which just popped up with
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
So
It looks like people are thinking they want in between budget and luxury, which I get, stay at some middle ones. Why would I go on vacation to be poorer than I am? For fun, for culture, for a different change of view. I can be poor in my own backyard or I can go be poor in the Alps. I'd rather go be poor in the Alps than sit here at my own desk staring at my wall. I mean, if I can afford to get the flight over there, heck yeah, I'd rather be somewhere else and poor. I mean, it's change of scenery.
mhm. I I don't want to get too deep in this, but
Mm.
about at least 10 years ago, I came to the realization, a lot of people come to the realization eventually they're going to die. And I was like, oh my God. I went through that horrible feeling as a lot of people go through. And it's like, at that point, I said, I need to go see all the different places in the world. Of course, I never did, but um, that's basically, yeah, I share that idea. You know, it doesn't matter if you can go out there and do something, why not? It's that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, um, let's see.
Oh,
Well,
urban traveling, traveling trains to places. I love being in trains. Trains is one of my favorite ways. I took a train from Barcelona to Paris. That was really pretty. I would love to do, they have a train that goes from New York to California. That would kind of be cool. You know, you have your own
oh,
sleeper car. They do a few stops along the way. Hecka expensive, but it looks awesome.
I don't know. I hate to be I hate to take this side against you on this one, but
Mm.
maybe it's because I was a kid. But we used to take periodically would take a train from DC to New York to visit my grandparents who lived on Long Island, and
Hmm.
I hated that train. It was just so long, so boring, and
It
it's like
is long, yeah.
and I would but like I said, I was a little kid, so, maybe it's
Hmm.
making it
Hmm.
worse, maybe and I would hope that if you were to take a train from New York to California, is that what you said?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
that you would be able to stop periodically and get out, and
Yeah, yeah, they have, like, strategic stops along the way, and the train is mostly, like, glass, so it's, like, really cool views and stuff, especially from, like, the dining cars and, like, the lounging cars, and then you have your own little, sleeper cars and stuff. It looks really cool. I would totally love to do that.
mm,
I think I like trains because, I I've driven from New York to Florida, Florida to New York a few times, and it's just you're so tired from driving all that way. Like you said, you drove, that distance as well, and you drove all the way to California. And like after a while, you just get so
yeah.
tired of driving and focusing on the road. And I think it takes some of the fun out of it. So I feel like being in a train where I don't have to worry about driving. If I do get bored, I can watch a movie on my, tablet or something, or I can just, watch out the window because I'm not driving. I don't have to focus on the road in front of me. I can actually see what I'm driving by, without getting into an accident.
I unfortunately, when I drove in a train, being able to watch a movie in that way was
Oh,
nowhere
that's true.
near.
That's true. Yeah. You could have listened to a book on tape cassette. There you go.
Oh, that's true, yes.
There you go.
I
I
would
listen to a lot of books. I love audiobooks because I can do a lot of other things while I'm listening to my audiobooks. So I
I
do audiobooks a lot.
I've done that, and when you do that, if you listen to a novel, do you consider that you've read the novel, or do you
I
consider?
do. I've consumed the information. You wanna tell a blind person they've never read a book when they know all the content in the book that you do? I know some people are like, "Well, if you've listened to it, you've never read it." Well, you read the book, you know exactly what's going on in there. Ask me any question from the book, I'll be able to answer it too. Just because somebody's reading it to you doesn't mean you haven't. I don't know. I feel like that's always ableist and rude? I don't know.
Well,
You've consumed the information. I don't really see the difference.
I will say there was one. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I just want to get your opinion on
Mhm.
because I heard some people will get all like snobby, like you know.
Yeah.
But I want to give an example. The novel The Time Machine by H.G. Wells.
Mhm.
Um, I tried to read that and I couldn't. I eventually listened to the audio version from beginning to end, but
Mhm.
because it was written in another country in another period of time.
Mhm.
I had the hardest time reading that book, and
Yeah.
I had to listen to have someone read it to me. It was
Yeah,
just too.
no, that happens, yeah. Yeah,
And,
that
that
definitely
when I read it to
happens.
me, it was fine. I was able to, I comprehended everything, but it
Right.
was trying to read it sitting there was like, "Oh my god, this is so difficult." So,
Right, right.
of course, because it's written in a different country, a different time period,
Mhm.
you have different things, like we talk about people from foreign countries, that kind of comes into play because
Yeah.
there there's gonna be expressions and things that you don't know about that the author like H.G. Wells put in there. I'm not gonna know what he's referring to because I'm not
Mhm.
from his country. I'm not from that time period, so
Right.
and references in there that I'm just not gonna get, but if someone's reading it, it may be able to be better comprehended.
Right.
So,
Yeah, especially because sometimes there are different nuances to the way it should be read, and if you don't know what those are, it it hurts the meaning in your head. But if somebody's reading it to you the way it was meant to be read, which you may not have known, that helps a lot for sure.
Mhm. No, I want to get off topic here. I want to
No,
hear
go for
how
it.
you're feeling. I also read another book, the Lord of the Flies,
Mm,
the book about the children that crash land on a plane on an island. Have you ever read
mhm.
that? Okay.
I haven't. I mean, most high schoolers do, but somehow I avoided it.
Well,
I know enough about it, I think.
well, there's a part in the book, and I found this very peculiar. The author in the book, he used a racist word in the book. It was the N
Mhm.
word. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So in the book, I think it was in the book. He's one of the characters. It might have been Piggy or Ralph. I don't know if you know the characters, but anyway,
Mm,
one of them yells out, What are we doing? Are we acting like a bunch of wild N words?" Okay,
mm,
okay, it's very
yeah.
strong. Okay, I don't have problems with that kind of racism used in a book if it's a literary work because
Mm,
it's the characters are expressing themselves, and I've seen it before. I don't like it, of course. I'm just saying it's
mhm.
when it's fiction, it's like, it is how people sometimes talk. So I'm not telling you people should censor themselves when they do that, but it is, I do find it quite offensive at the same time. But
Yeah.
what I'm leading up to is this. The author, apparently, I forget the name of the author, when he redid the book, he took out that word, right? Okay,
Mhm.
but what he did was he replaced it with the word Indians. So
That's so much better. Oh
so it's
my
like
god.
and so he replaces one group with another group and acted like, okay, that's okay now. It's like, wait.
Oh, goodness. That's there you go. All
So
better.
it was just so funny. It was like I couldn't I was like, wait a minute,
It's like I
don't you
took the gum out of my sister's hair and put it in my brother's hair. That's better,
yeah.
right?
And my dad told me that back in the day, I'm a huge, by the way, I don't think I've said this yet. My two favorite history areas of history are the American Civil War and Native American histories, and I've
Mm,
studied both. So, my dad told me, as we've talked about different things. He said during when he was younger, if you said anything bad about Native American people, it was actually acceptable. It was
oh,
nobody questioned it at all.
right.
So obviously that's not acceptable. Even when I was a kid, I was like, I remember people saying things like that, and it was acceptable. It was very odd, and I always found it really offensive. Um,
Mhm.
I remember, and it was like it was. I remember watching TV shows back in the '80s, and they would make references like that. It's like, whoa, did they just say that? And it's like people
Right.
act like it was no big deal, and it took a long time for that to become offensive to the mainstream popular for some reason. It's really weird. Um,
Mhm.
and I guess that the author was under the same mentality that when it comes to Native American people, oh, it's okay to say derogatory things about them because they're whatever. And it always bothered me. And eventually, nowadays, even into the '90s, I remember hearing the word "Injun" like being used,
Right, right, yeah, I
and
remember that too.
it was commonplace. Like it's okay to say that. It's like no, it's not. It
Right,
really isn't.
right.
So
Even coming up now, we're coming up on Columbus Day, which is now, rightfully so, Indigenous People Day because the Columbus we were all taught in school is a work of fiction, you know?
Well, I do have to say I'm not supporting Columbus because what he did to the Taino Nation was wrong, and he was
Mhm.
this is not in defense of Columbus, but I don't think we should have a day commemorating an entire race of people, regardless of who they are. I don't. I what we you what we should do is have if you pick a specific instance, maybe if we wanted to do the celebrate the Taino Nation, which became extinct because of Columbus,
Mhm.
that I could accept, but not the entire race of people that lived in North and South America. That I don't is you should never
Not enough. It's
that's
too small of a
it's
gesture kind of a thing or
no, because when
like
you if you study Native American history like I do, you know that there are good people and there are bad people in every culture,
right.
and you're basically commemorating all the people, which is good and bad, and I don't want to do that.
I
Uh,
see.
uh, and so if you want, but just like the Jewish people during the Holocaust, who were they were trying to exterminate them. That's what he was trying to do. That's what he did do to the Taino Nation. I keep on
Right.
mispronouncing them, and I could see commemorating them, but not an entire race of people.
I
That's
see.
So I think it's silly to do that. You don't.
W-
I
Would
even like
you?
oh, you gotta give an example.
No, I was just curious with your thoughts on that. So it's sort of like how we have, Black History Month or
It's like
Hispanic History Month. Would you want something similar to that, or do
I
you
was going to
think
bring that
those
up.
kinds of things?
I was going to bring up Black History Month to give you an example. Black History
Hmm.
Month. There's a difference between Black History Month in the sense that it doesn't celebrate every single black person that's out there because just like with every
Yeah,
race.
it's promoting, learn about the culture and learn about people, not just celebrate every single person that's just,
Yeah, and they primarily focus on the people who made great contributions to
hmm
in any kind of area.
I
So
mean, I think I thought of Indigenous People Day as that sort of a thing. It never occurred to me that we're celebrating an entire group of people. It, to me, always read more of, a same the same type of thing as, Black History Month or Hispanic History Month
yeah, I
or,
don't. Yeah, I understand. What you're saying. I don't view it that way at all. That's why I object
Mhm,
to that. If you want to pick somebody, pick something that's relevant to that
mhm.
because it just doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. So, in
Okay.
my opinion, you should never celebrate. George Carlin used to go through this as well. You should never celebrate something that's beyond your control. You don't go around saying you're proud because you're a black person or a white person. You're just who you are. You just
Mhm.
it's to say that you're proud of that is like, well, that's kind of silly because you can't control that anyway. So I'm getting off into a little tangent here.
Yeah, no, no. That's
So but and I have I'm like I said, I've this immense disdain for what Columbus did because I
right.
studied what he did do, uh,
Yeah.
especially with the people that were on the island. Because, like I said, within 100 years after he landed
Yeah.
on the island of Hispaniola, everyone was extinct on that island, and
I mhm.
the the and I have a tremendous respect for several Native American cultures, but as an entire race of people, I can't respect
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single
I see
person.
what you're saying.
It's just not because I know I mean I have individual examples of I worked with a guy that was from the Central America and he was a jerk and he just was. It's not because of his race or anything. He just was a jerk and he was rude. He was mean to everybody and why would I celebrate him? You know?
Interesting. It never occurred to me that it was saying what you're saying now. It always comes across it always came across to me like the same thing as Black History Month or Hispanic History Month or Women's History Month. That's the vibe I got from Indigenous People Day. It was more of a celebration of culture and to recognize that these are people that were here, and you should look into the history of that. it
Oh.
it never even came across my brain space to think of it the way that you're setting it out here now.
And I will say this, and this is not in defense of Columbus either.
Mm.
I assure you, but you cannot blame Columbus for colonization of North America.
Oh, no, no.
Because some people do, and it's like, no, wait a minute, he was
No, it
dead
wasn't
by then.
his fault. Yeah, no. He
But
didn't even come here.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But I do blame him for what he did to those people on that
Oh,
island,
for sure, for
and
sure. I mean,
especially since he was actually locked up and imprisoned for what he did. But he was pardoned by the King of Spain after that. But
right.
still, he was locked up for the accident he committed. But anyway, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh,
So.
no, I was just gonna say something silly, like, maybe have an Indigenous People Month, History Month, so that we can learn the history of where this country came from, and maybe make today Washington Irving Day because dude was so good at writing, he created a whole fiction that everybody believed for 200 years.
Uh, well, or what if you're gonna do that since it's Native American month, pick Sequoia, the Cherokee
Yeah,
leader who actually he created the Cherokee language.
there you
It
go, that too.
that that would be the
Sounds
better choice if you're gonna do
Yeah,
Native
yeah,
American.
oh, yeah, for sure. I was just,
Yeah, okay.
I was just saying, like, it's kind of impressive to be that good of a storyteller. I mean, you get Sleepy Hollow and you get Columbus. Pretty good writer there.
Hmm. The I will since I brought up Sequoia, I don't know if you know who Sequoia was, but he translated for the Cherokee people. He actually created a written language. They didn't have a written language at the time,
Hmm.
and what he did was he translated the Bible into Cherokee, And
Oh.
I don't remember the whole story how it went, but he apparently somebody, an elder Cherokee person, actually read the translation and said, "Wow, these are such good words. How come people don't actually live like this?"
Oh, yes. So, yeah. Yeah.
Something to that
If
effect. I mean,
people who tout the Bible so much actually read it and followed it, the world would be such a much nicer place. But no, they just pick and choose the horrible things that they want and ignore the rest of it,
mhm.
which just always blows my mind.
The so let's get. I'm gonna go back to something more lighthearted.
Oh
How's
yeah, go for it. Yeah,
that?
let's switch
Let me go back.
switch gears back.
Let me let's go back to Sandeep Bohanar. He's always
Mhm.
he comments everywhere. To
Mm,
be honest, I'd like to be a budget traveler. I'd stay at which place I can afford and
mm.
travel responsibly according to how much money I have, with a
Yeah.
little smiley face. So
Yeah. I think
um,
that's always fun.
let's
Putting a
see.
budget in place. The problem with putting a budget in place is sticking to that budget. I always bring an emergency credit card, and it's never an emergency. It usually ends up being for wine,
Oh,
which is definitely an emergency in some situations.
for me, I've never been a drinker of any kind, not even wine. So
Mhm.
I guess oh, do you is this like a party thing, or is this like a
No, no, like, just, hanging out and drinking wine in cool places. My favorite drinking story is actually, in Greece. My friend and I were traveling around, and we got to Greece, Athens, and we were on the train trying to figure out where we were supposed to go because one of the lines was down. And we met somebody else, and we were starting to talk to him about it. And we met two other people on the train, and we were all talking about it together, and then we all decided to like meet up later and like do dinner and stuff. And they were meeting some other friends, and it turned out to be this large group of us, and we all, were getting along. We got some food, and then after that we were like, what do you guys want to do? So we decided that we we bought a bunch of wine, and we went and sat somewhere, and it turned out we had an amazing view of the Parthenon when they turned on the lights for
hmm,
nighttime. It
interesting?
it was one of the best views. We all sat there, got getting to know each other, drinking on this huge marble rock overlooking like the Parthenon, all lit up and gorgeous. It just there's so many unexpected things that you can see while traveling, and that emergency credit card for wine came in handy because we got to know a bunch of cool people. We're all still friends. Most of them are from America. We've seen each other and traveled a few different places since then as well. Yeah.
That's one in Greece, right?
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
see if I can pull up my own pictures here so you can see them.
For of the is that the one that was blown up during World War One? Is that why it's all? That's why it's blown apart like that, right? Because they stored the ammunition inside there because they figured no one would blow it up because it's such a historical place, and then they blew it up anyway. And
um,
that's why it's so broken up, because it wasn't like that at like 100 years ago. I think I can't
hmm,
remember all the
not,
details. I can't remember which
not,
war it was,
I'm not entirely sure. Let's see.
because
Yeah.
it was actually it stood the way it was for a long time without. I don't remember all the details. European history is not my strong point. Sorry. Um,
Yeah, here, hold on. I got some.
Oh, by the way, Sandeep also said that I forgot to mention, so he said, your profile picture of your cat is so cute. So,
Oh, yes, I saw it. Thank you very much.
okay.
Thank you very much. Let's see. I think I have some pictures here. I feel like there should be more of them. Oh, there they are. Okay, that's the picture from the first night.
Oh, let's
All right,
see.
let me see if I can pull it up for you. Where are we going? Let's X this out.
No.
Wrong button. Hitting all the wrong buttons here. Okay. So let's see. Share screen. All right, so now you're seeing what I'm looking at, and here we go.
Actually, I don't see it yet. Did you bring it up? Did you share it yet?
I think I did. Let's see.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I have to select share.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Got it. There we go. Cool.
That that was our view while we were hanging out drinking.
Oh, that must, yeah, that I know. I gotta say this, and it's got to be something that looks much better when you're in person, I'm guessing.
Oh
That
yeah, I mean, this picture I thought was still pretty awesome, but it was it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to sit there and see it from this whole point of view, and the way they light it up and everything at night. It was really cool.
because
Yeah,
I'm
we
looking, I'm looking at it. It looks cool, but I just right now I'm thinking to myself, it's not as cool as if you're actually there. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah, and then these were all the people we met, and we all just met there and started hanging out.
Oh,
And you
so we're
can see
drinking
we
wine.
have a few drink cups. This one's me.
You're drinking wine.
Yeah, we bought a bunch of bottles of wine, and then, we just kind of explored, and we went and
Oh,
explored an island. I'm just trying to scroll past faces because they didn't say that this was fine. So, and then
that's
this was the view from one of the restaurants we were at, which it's hard to see because the reflection of the sky, of the ceiling in the restaurant, but like there it is again from this angle. So,
the is that a
it
model?
it was really cool.
Is that a model?
I'm sorry? No, that's life size. That was from the restaurant we were in, and the this is the reflection of the ceiling in the restaurant. So
Oh,
it's kind of it's.
it looks like
I
I'm.
should have like gotten closer to the window so that you could see, but
Okay, what it looks like to me is that I'm looking at like a train model in the foreground, and
yeah,
like,
no, this is
wow, that's fun. That's cool.
larger than life. Yeah, yeah. That was a really cool time. That was really yeah
That's cool.
one of
So,
my favorite trips. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
would you recommend that to our viewers
Oh,
to
absolutely. If you can do it, go for it. Greece was wonderful. Greece it was also they are also dealing with an economic crisis. And you'll see all the time there's a lot of little children going around trying to sell things. We were given the tip never to actually buy them anything or give them money because in it lets their parents know that this is working and they should keep them out of school. So we would just give them food, and they're always grateful for food. But it I don't know how true that is. That that if you buy their goods, their parents encourage them to stay out of school and keep selling stuff. But they were always grateful for food, so that we were told to give them food rather than money because it encourages their parents to keep them out of school if they're making money on the streets.
Hmm, okay.
Yeah.
So I have to ask this question, which is completely off topic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
have you ever played Grand Theft Auto?
Yes, yes, I have.
Because we're getting some questions about Grand Theft Auto.
I
I thought
see that. Is it
it's,
possible to beat GTA while having a 4 to 6 wanted level? I have
it,
no idea. I don't think I've ever played the storyline in Grand Theft Auto in my entire life. I think I've maybe done 1 or 2 actual quests. Mostly I just drove around, shooting people
and your
as you
favorite
do.
and your favorite play to play is on. If I remember correctly, you told me earlier before we did the show was on Xbox. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Yep, Xbox is my preferred system. I don't know why. I mean, just it happened to be the last one I bought was a 360. I haven't upgraded yet because I don't think I play enough to justify upgrading. So
Okay, I'm a PC gamer, so
mm,
I do have consoles, but the only reason I have consoles, and this is completely 100% honest when I say this, was so I could play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on a different platform, and that was the only reason I did that. And to top it off, when I
mm,
did that, I bought a device that allowed me to hook up my keyboard and mouse, so I wouldn't have to use a controller, so to play the game.
there you
And
go. There you go.
I was I the I have played with I tried playing with a controller. I know how to play with a controller. I don't like playing with a controller, and I respect people who can. It's
Hmm.
just not for me. So the I will say during my little if you could call it research, just looking stuff on the internet, looking things up on the internet, that the PlayStation 2 certain games you can actually hook up a keyboard and mouse directly to the game console because they're actually designed to be played with those through the game itself. You don't need
Hmm.
a special adapter, which is I found kind of interesting. So
Yeah. I've played. I don't know. I done the free trial of World of Warcraft here and there, but mostly I like playing with a controller. Skyrim has always been one of my favorites. What is it called? Portal. I always love Portal. Mirror's Edge is fun, but I never really got into doing gaming on PC, even though I'm sure Skyrim would be super awesome on PC with all the mods you can get and stuff. I just haven't done it. I mean, I have Steam and everything. Play The Sims all the time, but I don't think you can really count that as PC gaming.
I've heard of Skyrim, but I've never played it. Sorry.
Never
So
played Skyrim?
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. Most of the games I've played are I haven't played. I've hardly played any games really. I've just been playing
Mostly just GTA.
what that and another game series called Driver, which was they hit a there was Driver, Driver 2, Driver 3,
Mm.
Driver Parallel Lines, and Driver San Francisco. So those are the except for Driver 2, I like all those games. So
Hmm.
the big
Skyrim is my jam. Killing
oh
some dragons and sucking out their souls. Yeah.
we could would you like to maybe we could invite our viewers to watch we could try to do some gameplay sometime if you'd like.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Okay, I'll see if I can hook that up on this computer. So we've
That
done
would
that
be
before.
cool.
How are you is it one of your which game, let me ask you this, which is the
Mm.
game that you know the best?
Skyrim would definitely be. I mean, Skyrim, Portal, and Mirror's Edge. Those are the three that I played the most, I think.
Okay.
I love Portal. Have you ever played Portal? That one's fun.
No, I've not.
I've also played what's it called? Borderlands. That one's fun too.
Okay, I know of Borderlands. I've never actually played it though. So
Portal.
is that
The
it?
cake is a lie. That's absolutely it. Haven't you ever seen on the internet scrolled somewhere the cake is a lie?
No, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I told you there's a lot of things I just I miss. Sorry.
Mm. No, Portal's super fun. They do have a multiplayer version, I think. But Portal, basically, you have what's it called? A portal gun, and you're kind of. I had never really quite understood if it's like post-apocalyptic or something. Basically, a computer is trying to kill you, and you're trying to escape, and you use the portal guns to beat each level. And the computer's name is Gladys, and she's
I,
going nuts and trying to kill you.
and you shoot the gun and it creates those little openings. Is that right or
Yep,
something?
and then you walk through one and you walk out another one. So it's kind
Okay.
of like a puzzler game.
Uh-huh. I
So
saw
you have to puzzle your way through.
Gotcha. I saw a video where someone made I don't know if it was based on Portal, but I saw a video
Probably.
where they made a movie where the people were actually walking and doing that. It was actually
Mm,
people though, not video game characters, actual physical
mhm.
people. And it was really entertaining to watch. So I
Yeah.
didn't know like you said, it was probably based on the video game. I just didn't
Yeah.
know at the
Yeah.
times. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
no, it's pretty cool. And there's different like scenarios, different things you can do. You see the on the right-hand side in the center on the all the way on the right. Yeah,
Mhm.
that computer there. That looks like Gladys. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's the one that's trying to trying to kill you, trying to help you, trying to kill you, all these kinds of fun things.
Oh,
J.J. Abrams
I
says, I can't
I
quite
don't
read that.
It says J.J. Abrams says the Val Portal movie is totally on the
It's
rails.
finally on the rails. That would be awesome.
Man,
This would make a fun movie.
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
I don't know how it would be a good movie, but it would be fun.
Keep J.J. Abrams away from the movie, please. I don't I don't like J.J. Abrams movies anymore. So too much of the magic, too much of the mystery box element, and not enough
Mm,
substance for to for the story to. It's just a bunch of
fair,
flash.
fair, yeah.
So I give someone else that someone else that has more that could give a good decent story, please.
Do better for it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to see. I want to see something that we give it maybe to Steven Spielberg or
Mhm, mhm.
someone. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. There's other people out there, but please just
Yeah, yeah,
keep J.J. Abrams off of it, please.
yeah. No, no, Portal's super fun.
Hmm. Okay,
And
well,
then Mirror's Edge is like a jumping game. That one's kind of fun too.
okay, we can try one of those and see where
Yeah.
that can. So, alrighty. Well, I'm gonna.
Skyrim is an MMO, like that it's huge open world, so
Okay. Okay.
that's always fun.
We can. Yeah, I will see about getting those installed on my computer, and we can see where we can go from there. So,
Yeah,
Are
that
these
means
games
I would have
old?
to have it on my computer. Like I said, I have it for 360,
Oh, yeah.
but I have Steam, so
The if you have it on your computer, if you have it on the 360, you may be able to bring it up on your end. I don't know if that how that would work exactly.
I have
Probably
no
not.
idea.
It-
I'd probably have to get it for Steam as well. Do you use Steam for your stuff?
I have 4 games with Steam and I don't like them, so
Mm, you just
they
get them
they
yeah.
they made me angry a few years ago when they wouldn't let me change my email accounts. I said, okay, I left a little nasty message on their community post saying I'm not buying any more of your games, and they still won't let me change my email account. I have it. I had this. I don't know why they wouldn't let me do it. So I got so angry and I in 2 of the games that I bought for Steam, I feel like I was tricked into getting them, or having to get Steam. I mean, because when I bought the game, this was early on when Steam was just becoming popular. I thought I was getting the disc version of the game, and it turns out the disc was irrelevant. I still had to log into Steam to download the game. So, and I was like, oh, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have bought the game in the first place. What's the point of buying a disc game if you can only have to download it anyway? It was pointless. So, and I felt like I said, it was early on when internet games were just becoming more commonplace around 2009 2010. And if it just made me angry. I'm not saying Steam is bad for everybody, but there's a couple of little things that just made me angry, so I just try to avoid it whenever I can. So
Okay then.
that's just me going my little rants. That's
So
all.
how do you play games together? I mean, I know obviously people stream their games all the time. It's a huge thing. It's one of the reasons you have so many followers, but I've never really known how that works. I mean, obviously we probably talk tech specs when we're not on mic, but still.
Yeah, well, most of the games I have are just single player, and
Mm,
they're all disc games. I just installed them on my
hmm,
computer, so I don't usually, with the exception of Rockstar. Recently, they did create a launcher where you have to download certain games. So, and
mhm.
they had an incentive where they gave away free games to install it. So I said, okay, I'll take the free games. And I got 3 free games. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which I already had, so I took it anyway. What was the other ones? Noir. What's that one? Oh, it's a. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to bring it up on my other screen here. By the way, I have 4 screens. 3 of them you cannot see, obviously, and I'm trying to minimize these. Hold on. Oh my goodness, I have too many
I don't
windows
know if
open.
I'd be able to work like that.
L.A. Noir and
Mm,
and Max Payne 3. That they gave
okay.
those 3 games away for free. So I was like, okay, since they gave them
Try
away
'em.
for
Yeah.
free, I said, yeah, why not? So, and
Yeah.
then I also have Red Dead Redemption, which
No,
has an online
classic.
version. I'm sorry, Red Dead Redemption 2, not the first one, but the
Yeah.
second one.
Skyrim
And
has an online version as well, which I always thought would be fun to play, and I've just never downloaded it. Never got it.
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I know of Skyrim, but just not enough to know that, I guess. Well, if I played, I
Mhm.
guess I probably know that. So, but the only thing I don't like about Rockstar, and it's obviously with any game developer nowadays, is the microtransactions. That deters me from wanting to do online.
Mm.
They're trying to nickel and dime you on every little thing to make more money off you, which I think is disgusting. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's always annoying.
all right. Well, I'm going to go. I think we should wrap everything up for this
Yeah,
evening.
sure, sure.
And Rachel, I appreciate you being on. And is there anything
Thank
else
you for having me.
sure. Is there anything you'd like to add to the viewers before we say goodbye?
Hmm, not that I can think of. If anybody has any questions for me, I'll lurk in the comments for a while later. Um, feel free to ask me anything. Shoot me maybe what you're reading right now. I'm going through all of Naomi Novik's stuff at the moment. I love her. She's one of my favorite authors that hasn't turned out to be a horrible person. Seems like I pick a lot of authors that turn out to be horrible people, but so far she's doing pretty good.
I'm not familiar with what was she written?
She's written 2 standalone books called one is Uprooted and the other one is Spinning Silver.
Hmm.
She's doing a new series right now called The Scholomance. Last Graduate just came out. I devoured it in like 2 days, and now I have to wait a year for another book, which always is annoying, especially, when they leave you on a cliffhanger, but at least I know we'll get it eventually. And she's still doing press for that book, so it's going to be a while, but
Okay.
And her older series is I want to say it's Telomere, The Last Dragon.
Hmm.
No. Name. Um, let's see. Why is that name in? Yeah. Uh, Temeraire. I don't know how to say that. Temeraire. I haven't read those, but I'm going to next, I think. So they're 9 books and they've already finished.
Hmm.
But yeah, the Scholomance series is what I'm super into right now, especially since I just finished the second one and now I have to wait for the next one forever.
Okay. Well, what I want to, since you brought that up, this is kind of
Mm,
slightly in a different direction, but
yeah.
uh, is there anything that you want our viewers to see? We said I was going to post a link. I already
Mm.
forgot what it was. What was the link I was going to
Oh,
post?
to maybe we can just post the Besties Make Movies website. They got a whole bunch of awesome stuff on there. You can see when Triple Threat is going to be, appearing at more film festivals, and some of their other works are going to be appearing in film festivals. They do a lot of stuff with the LGBTQ community and things like that. They they're just awesome people, and you can check out all of their work. You can also check out Literacy Connections of the Hudson Valley. Um, we were gonna do a fundraiser at the moment, but it didn't get enough traction. So maybe next time we'll set that up, another fundraiser, and maybe I'll let you all in on that one when it's going up. But I think those are the
Okay.
only 2 things I want to plug at the moment.
Okay. And if there's anything else, well, I'll add them to the
Yeah.
description.
You can always listen to the other podcast I edit. It's called This Week in Science. They're gonna go live at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific tonight
Oh,
on
okay.
YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook.
Oh, okay. Okay. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about going into Twitch. Unfortunately, I don't think my Twitch account is extremely dead. No, I've never actually done it. So, but eventually, I may, if everything gets more popular, I might expand over there. Um,
Mm.
but is it work for them? Does it work pretty well as far
Yeah.
as like reception? Okay, cool, cool. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. They get a pretty good. They do a lot on Twitch, actually. I think
Okay.
YouTube and Twitch are their main sources of viewers. I mean, some people come up on Facebook, but I think mostly it's honestly mostly Twitch and YouTube.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure I post all the links in the description so everyone can check those out. And do they let the shows after you said it starts tonight? Will it still be on YouTube and
Oh yeah.
the
Yep.
okay.
It'll still be. Yep. You can watch any of their old episodes, and then I usually edit the podcast on Thursdays, and it'll probably come out on Friday as a podcast anywhere podcasts are found.
Okay, cool. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yeah. Go for it.
No,
Sorry.
no, sorry, I was gonna wrap it up if you have
No,
something.
go for it.
Nope.
I was just saying that it's a cool show to listen to if you want to go back and start listening maybe January of 2020 to hear a science show talk about the pandemic like as it's happening. That was really fascinating way to listen to it. Like binge it through the because I only started with them February of 2021. And so when I started listening to them, it was really interesting to go back and listen to all of the episodes starting in like maybe December of 2019 to January 2020 to like hear the pandemic in real time and like see, what people were thinking about it back then. That was really fascinating. Social experiment.
That is interesting, and I've got to say that you and I definitely live in different areas because where I
Mm,
lived, it was not considered that big of a deal. I'm not joking. It's
that's just crazy. That's
the
so crazy.
I remember going to the store. There was a handful of customers that were like really panicking, wearing rubber gloves and things on their
Hmm.
face. But the people at the store I would talk to. It's like, nope, it's not that big of a deal. So the, I live in a very much more rural area. I think it's like I said, it's more of a rural versus urban kind of a thing.
I don't
So
know. I mean, I live in a pretty rural place too. I mean, like I
oh
said, I'm
really?
90
Oh okay.
miles outside of New York City, but I'm honestly in the middle of nowhere. It takes me 30 minutes to get to a grocery store.
Oh okay. Okay. So you're like where I am. Okay, I
Yeah.
take that back then. Okay,
Yeah.
it's interesting, but I still think it's more of a at that point it's still more of a locale where it's
Yeah, for sure. Like just, the color of the state also matters. And just It's very interesting, different places and different reactions and things like that.
Yeah, because I've seen I have another person who does a show with me. She's on tomorrow night. Her name is Amanda. She's from Staten Island, and she says just like you. Everyone was very conscious of it, and I told her the same thing I'm telling you. It's just in this area it was not like that at all, and still
Hmm.
isn't like that. It never has been, which is
That's
really interesting.
so bizarre.
So, and this is I'm only to give you an idea. I'm 30 miles outside of DC.
Okay, okay.
And I do believe DC really went overboard on some of the things. I think they might have overreacted in some ways. So,
Hmm.
but but DC is its own little thing that people in Virginia, Maryland try to avoid DC anyway. It's not they're
Hmm.
a lot of people think DC is just highly corrupt.
Right, right.
And if you but Maryland had its ways. Maryland and Virginia is kind of divided in some ways, so it's hard to explain exactly how the Virginia is divided there. But um,
Hmm.
I think I'm on the outskirts of where it becomes rural. So I
Hmm.
because where I'm living right now, they're starting to develop and make things. Where I moved into here when I bought my house 17 years ago, I was pretty much there was nothing really that close, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of things that are much closer. So I'm like I said, I'm right on the edge of where it
Hmm.
becomes like urban and rural. That's why I made that distinction between urban and rural. So maybe in this area that might be a rural and urban thing, but where you are, it's obviously it's different. So I shouldn't have made that broad assumption like that. So, so but
Yeah,
okay.
that's
I
yeah.
do find it interesting. I do find it very interesting how it's such a major It's the
Yeah.
difference is like night and day almost. It really
Yeah,
is.
it really is. It really is.
Alrighty.
Hmm.
So thanks for being on,
Yeah, no problem.
and we can do this again. And
Sure.
what we will do is we'll go back to our question obviously, and we'll if
Sure.
you have anything else, I guess I can, anything else. I guess that's it. Anything else you had to say before we go? I guess if there's any final words, I guess is I'm tongue tied right now for some reason.
No, I don't have anything. I'm not sure exactly when I'll be back, but I definitely will. This was fun.
Cool. I'm glad you're on. So alrighty,
Thanks.
everybody. Okay, hang on a second while I disconnect here. So.
Mhm.